everybody. Welcome back to Cricket Special Show in the air with me, Nivedna Prabhu. India, of course, have clinched the first T20I against Westindies by winning this one by 68 runs. And if you happen to look at the little bit of a summary that we have, we'll get more into the detail. But the match result being that 190 for 6 in 20 overs. Rohit Sharma 64 for 44. Alzari Joseph picking up those 2 for 46, but obviously in losing cause. But dusri taraf, West Indies 121 for 8 and Ravichandran Ashwin picking 2 for 22. Now we'll start off on the fact that, of course, Pratik did feel that India, of course, has the upper hand. They're going to be winning this one. But quite some stupendous performances as well. Although we did show about Rohit Sharma. One person that we definitely need to start off with is Dinesh Karthik.
Well, yes, absolutely. I mean, look at the way he has been playing. We have constantly heard him right in the last 4 to 5 months how desperately he wants to be a part of that World Cup. And right now, you have to say that he's absolutely on track because I think things were a little tricky on this track. You saw that, the spinners kind of going about their business the way they liked. And that innings of his, I mean, look at the strike rates. You won't really see too many higher strike rates in this particular batting card. But look at Dinesh Karthik. I mean, 19 balls, 41 runs. These are the kind of knocks that you expect your finishers to play. And these are the kind of knocks which actually, it's changed the complexion of the game, as we call it. And that is exactly what he has been ending up doing. So I think great credit to him because at one stage close to the 15th or 16th over mark, you perhaps would not have thought that India would be able to cross something or get close to 190 because the wickets were down and the pitch was not the easiest to bat on. But the kind of flourish that he gave towards the end, and of course credit to Ashwin as well because he played a good side role, that ensured that India had enough in the bank. And then of course bowlers putting up their hand and just capping off a clinical performance because this is a big victory. I think we were talking in the pre-show also about the fact that India is a chasing side which likes to chase. But I think in the recent past, if you see, we defeated England by big margins, 50 and 49 in the previous series, and now the 68 here. So I think this is actually a good sign for India going into the World Cup here because they're defending targets and they're defending them very comprehensively. So I think they would be a happy bunch for sure.
All right, but even if India wins, there will be a little bit of criticism all the time. There's a comment coming in about Samson should have been put instead of Hardik. Well, we'll get talking about those different aspects of the game as well. But for everybody who's joined us, if you would like to give us your own analysis of the particular game, what really did not work in favor of West Indies, let us know in the comment section. We'll try taking a couple of questions as well. But talking about skipper leading from the front, Rohit Sharma contributed with those vital 64 runs. We can take a look at his particular innings over here. Out of 44 balls, strike rate being 145.45. It's good to see him back in action. There was a little bit of, we weren't seeing that hitman show for quite some time, Pratesh. So it's good to see skipper Rohit performing.
Always, Nivedna. Whenever your skipper is performing, it's always a good news. It's always a happy news for the side. And I think he was looking very free flowing today. I mean, the way he was playing his shots, pulled, hooked well, played those strokes that he's known to play on the offside, those drives. I think he was looking in his element. And I think he has not had the best. I mean, as a skipper, of course, he has been absolutely on a roll because under Dravid and under Rohit, India has been absolutely an unstoppable force. But if you talk about Rohit, the batter, he has not been in the best of forms because if you look at the IPL, if you look at the recent series, and odd innings here and there against England, apart from that, he has not been in his best of forms. And I think that is the biggest area of concern because if you do not have KL Rahul, as we were even talking about in the pre-show, has been missing out on a lot of games. Virat Kohli, we know, is not in the best of forms. So if Rohit Sharma is also not in form, then it becomes a big concern because you're talking about three big match players and all of three of them not being in form due to some or the other reason, one not getting game time, the other two not performing. So I think it's very important this series for Rohit Sharma's aspect, not from the captaincy perspective because he is a proven contender. We know what he has done, five-time champions with the Mumbai Indians, and even his record as an Indian captain in full-time capacity has been pretty phenomenal. So I think the batter needs to step up, and when he does, we saw what happened because more credit to him because those runs were not easy to come by. As I said, that it was not one of those tracks where batters could have hit on will. But when you kind of score runs on these kind of pitches, they do you more good and they do more good to your confidence. So I think he would, of course, be very satisfied with this knock.
All right, all of you, what do you think of Rohit Sharma and Dinesh Karthik's performance? If you had to pick between either one of them in today's match especially, who would you place your favorite button on? Tell me that in the comments. Now, talking about India and great performances, But दूसरी तरफ, of course, West Indies did not have a great start to the T20I series, although Nicholas Pooran was looking to at least capitalize the first one. If you could take a look at the batting summary of where West Indies was standing today, as well as their bowling lineup, we'll start with batting first. The highest contribution on this, unfortunately, being 20 runs by Shamra Brooks. Um, Pratik, the fact that West Indies at one point was feared to be probably the best T20I side, considering, they had such powerful hitters, even at the point when we would have Chris Gale, in the scheme of things, they're always talking about Gale's term. What has really gone wrong for them? Is it just coming together as a unit? Because individually, some of them have done well in the IPL, if you were to talk about the T20 format. What do you think is really going wrong for them?
Absolutely, I think this is a team game. I mean, you whenever we talk about cricket, it's one of those games where at least if not all 11, you need at least 5 to 6 players to fire on a given day, because you cannot expect 1 or 2 players to win you the game. Of course, there are exceptions, but that does not happen every single day, which is why there are exceptions. But if you talk about this particular lineup, I don't think there's any dearth of potential in them, because if you see the names that they have, each one of them can win you games. We know that it's a team which is full of match winners. All of them are match winners in their own right. And very correctly pointed out, I think it's not easy being a West Indian fan at the moment, because you know that this side, when you know that your side does not have the potential to fire, you probably are not let down. But when you see these kind of performances by players of this caliber, then it starts to hurt a little bit more than it would otherwise. So I think the moves, the tactics, I think even today, if you see Jason Holder being promoted up the order, that was not a move that clicked. And again, the form of the captain himself, Nicholas Pura not being able to get the runs. The start was still fine, because Kyle Mayers was looking in slightly good touch, but then removed by Arshdeep in very little time. And when you lose 2-3 wickets in the power play, then it becomes difficult all the more. And as I said, that this was not one of those tracks where you could have exceeded, simply at the back end, thinking that, okay, even if it's 11 or 12 runs and over, we are backing ourselves to chase. It was not that kind of a track. So I think that was the major cause of their downfall. And overall, speaking about West Indies cricket, I think plenty of changes we have seen in personnel, players being shuffled around, things happening in their board. But the thing is that they've just not been able to step up. I think we saw in the ODIs, and it's not good when you actually create these long streaks of losses, because they've now lost around 9, 10, 8 to 9 white ball games in succession. And that, anyways, no matter how good or bad a team anyone is, it always dents your confidence when you keep on losing back-to-back matches. So I think 1 or 2 victories would do a world of good to their confidence. And no doubt, I mean, the team is pretty good, but it's just about being able to step up on the day, and that is what they are not being able to do at the moment.
Right, having a collective, performance is of course important for any team. On the winning side, of course, Team India would be really happy even with the bowling performance. If you could take a look at that, I also see a comment coming in saying that he gives his thumbs up to DK. All right, so he's going with DK instead of Rohit today. The bowling card over here, clearly, this is the stats where they kind of stand today. Probably one player we should talk about. We don't get enough opportunity. Probably two players would be Arshdeep Singh and Ravi Bishnoi. Now we both, these players. We know we've spoken about them umpty number of times in the capacity of the Indian Premier League, but seems like these are going to be the players that Team India is going to be looking forward to, Pratyay, as a regular wicket-taking options.
Undoubtedly, yes, because I mean, whatever little chances they've got, they've always managed to capitalize upon that. Even today, I mean, Ashdeep was slightly expensive to start with, but then he managed to strike. I think the best part about these young players, what we are seeing is that they are not afraid of going for runs, or they are not afraid of playing their strokes. I think that is what India is actually banking on at the moment, playing fearless brand of cricket, whether that is with the bat or whether that is with the ball. Because when you are taken apart for 6 and 4, or maybe some shots, you at times the bowlers start to lose confidence, or maybe they start trying to do too many new things, which perhaps lead to their downfall. But we saw
Yeah.
that Arshdeep took a little bit of beating at the start, but then managed to strike back to back, and then managed to just get the wickets, call him up roaring. So I think that is one of the factors. And apart from that, I think not just Arshdeep, I think this particular game, you have to talk about the spinners a lot more, because this was a track and they ensured, because even if the track is assisting you, you still have to go and you have to take wickets. And that is what they managed to do. I think if you look at Jadeja, Ravi Ashwin, and even Bishnoi for that matter, the 3 R's, today. Just coming into three Ravis rather. In fact, three Ravis coming into action and doing it for India. So I think clinical performance with the ball as well. Bhuvneshwar Kumar again doing what he's known to do the best. I mean, delivering a wicket maiden in this format, it's absolutely gold dust. So I think pretty clinical all in all. I think not too many things that India would be worried about as far as this game is concerned. But if you ask me from a personal perspective, what I would not, the only thing that perhaps was not very understandable, apart from the fact that perhaps India wanted to maybe have another left-hander batting at the middle order, because we were talking about Rishabh Pant and Rohit Sharma coming out to open. We did not see that. It was Surya Kumar Yadav who actually came out to open.
Yeah.
So I think this is one factor which India has to kind of look into, because under Dravid and under Rohit, what we have been seeing is that there is a lot of role clarity. People are told that आपसे ये उम्मीद की जाती है, आपका ये role है. लेकिन पिछले कुछ दिनों में what we have seen is that there is a lot of if you see about the opening combination or things like that, then there's a lot of change which is going on. So I think India needs to figure things out, and they don't need to experiment as much as probably they are doing, because there's no point doing that much experiment. So I think that was the perhaps only thing that kind of counted as a negative from a personal perspective. But apart from that, it was an absolute 10 on 10 game for India.
ऑलराइट, ठीक है, तो आप सब का ओपिनियन क्या है इसके बारे में? दिस इज प्रत्यय's पर्सनल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. डू यू थिंक दैट मच अमाउंट ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंट also should not be happening? Tell me in the comments. We took a look at India's bowling performance. Let's find out what West Indies and their bowlers did today. Of course, Jason Holder, very surprisingly, you don't expect that from a bowler like him. 1 for 50, pretty expensive. Alzari Joseph, of course, taking 2 for 46, but in a losing cause. Now we'll come back to taking this one question over here that we have. If we can take a look at that, Ankit Rana is saying, including Ravichandran Ashwin in the Indian team's 11 adds depth to the team's batting, and Ashwin is a wicket taker. That's why it's important for him to be in the T20 World Cup. Both Aksar and Jadeja are left-arm spinners. They cannot be played together, but Ashwin Jadeja can play together in a playing 11. Now, this is his interesting analysis. Would you agree with that?
In a sense, yes, because if you talk about Aksar and Jadeja, both of them kind of bring similar things onto the table. Yes, Jadeja, of course, being the more experienced one, so you would perhaps expect him to make the cut over Aksar any day. But I think at the moment, what India also needs to factor in is the fact that Jadeja, the bowler, has not looked as venomous as perhaps today was good. But apart from that, in the recent past, Jadeja, the bowler, has not looked as convincing as we know him to be. Of course, his batting has been absolutely no problem right since whatever cricket he has been playing in the last 2-3 years. The bowling has slightly gone a little bit down, I would say. But Ashwin, of course, I think the one thing with him is that he is one of those bowlers who has the knack of picking wickets, and he is someone who is extremely experienced. And in big tournaments, whenever you go, we always say that there is no shortcut to experience. There's no actual real replacement of experience. So you cannot actually weigh in anything with that. So from that perspective, of course, Ashwin is one of the choices. But as I said, I mean, we have been saying this for the past whatever time we have been discussing cricket, that India are always spoiled for choices. I mean, there are so many options at the moment that it's really hard. I mean, to actually figure out what kind of an 11 India will have. And even right now, the kind of combinations that India has been testing, the amount of players that they have been actually playing, it's quite a much. So I think closer to the World Cup would be a better time to assess the form of the players and then take a call. But at the moment, you will of course say that yes, Ashwin is very much into the plans and very much into the reckoning as well.
All right. So we hope, Ankit, that is something that you are also thinking on the lines of. But if you have anything to add, or if you want to tell us what is the ideal playing 11 that Team India should be going for in Australia for the T20 World Cup 2022, let us know that in the comment section. Now let's find out what people are tweeting about this particular first T20I on social tracker. Let's find out if there are memes as well. The first one being Dinesh Karthik, take a bow, a brilliant finishing cameo, 41 from 19, sorry, from DK helps Team India set West Indies a target of 191. Roaring 50. Of course, Mumbai Indians having tweeted about this, saying Paltan drop with emoticon if you're enjoying Rohit Sharma's knock. Harsha Bogle saying the Hardik DK Jadeja combo is working well for India. The presence of Hardik allows India to play Jadeja, and Jadeja's ability to bat at any number allows DK to play his role perfectly. All right, that's a very interesting way to look at what Harsha Bogle has tweeted. Of course, in terms of Dinesh Karthik, the opportunities he's capitalized on, no surprises for guessing he'd definitely be in the scheme of the T20 World Cup 2022. But that discussion will keep happening. But before that, there's a lot more cricket happening, which means that the first T20I is wrapped up. Second T20I कब हो रहा है, कहाँ पे हो रहा है? Let's take a quick look. It's at Warner Park, and this is going to be in St. Kitts. And this is the second T20I on August 1st, which means that there is a 2-day breather of sorts. Now, that's a breather for fans or the cricketers. You can take a guess accordingly. But there will be lots more cricket right here, only on Crick Tracker's special show In the Air. Pratyay will also join us once again with all his, analysis, predictions, everything. We're also hoping that you all can join us when we join you with the second T20I's action as well, right here. Until we see you next time, from both Pratyay and me, take care and continue watching Trick Tracker for everything related to the world of cricket.